Good evening everyone and welcome to another tournament stream. Today we're streaming more rounds from the challenges from the EU server and I'm joined again by Fidget.
Hey, it's me. Hello.
Oh, there's a tournament room, perfect timing. And we are starting
That
it
is
off
perfect
with
timing.
Infinity War against Raid.
Oh, the Germans.
Oh, I like
The
both these
Germans
teams to be
speaking
honest.
against the Germans.
I still feel that both these teams could have technically been top 8 and with both these teams I very much wonder if Wargaming had solved the seeding abuse, whether or not they would have made it into the top 8, because I think that would be likely.
Possibly, but don't forget, IW also had a 100% win rate count or two.
That is true. But yeah, but that is very true, actually.
But I say that just as fact. They have played some beautiful stuff.
Yeah.
They really have. And I mean, I spoke to the Falcon dude. I gave him an interview, and the reason they had 100% win rate accounts is because everybody else had 100% win rate accounts. And
Yeah.
it wasn't to manipulate, it was to get a level playing field to an extent.
And I'm
And
still
in
always very much
fairness,
against that, but I can get that people do it. There were some people that did it to a bit of a crazy extent, though.
yeah. But I mean, to be fair to IW, they have stood on their gameplay, and you know their gameplay during the PYS was very good. And they missed the top 8 literally by minuscule amount. It just unlucky for them.
Mm-hmm.
Because at one stage they were seriously in contention for top 8.
Oh, but I really hope that by summer we will have a new seeding system. I'm hopeful but not certain. We'll have to see. But I think that Infinity War would be one of the clans to definitely watch out for then. Raid for sure, but Raid is like a settled name in that regard. Infinity War
Yeah, I
is newer in name.
mean, totally. I mean, I feel for Raid because they were slighted with the win rate seeding. To be perfectly honest with you,
Yeah.
I mean they came across some big teams early doors. I mean that's not an excuse. I mean they're still Raid, and obviously to be top 8, you've still got to beat those teams. But I've said it many times. Best of 3 is not always the best environment. To be fair.
No, very true. And I get that Wargaming has to go for a format that works and doesn't take ages and ages and ages.
Mhm.
But then you get like best of 5 and now best of 7, which is just a lot less luck and RNG dependent.
Correct. Correct. Because I mean, IW bless them. And I can't remember who it was. I was streaming them, and one of the guys he was in a mouse, and he got ammo racked in the first 30 odd seconds in the game.
Especially with the mouse, with the roll that tank should have.
Absolutely,
Oof.
absolutely. And that was it. That was their game over. And it was on Vineyards, and that was it. It was all over for them. And I think it was against Raid. I can't remember, but I think it was. And it was the Lucy Boosey, I believe. So you know when you get things like that and you're in a best of 3, it really does exasperate the situation
Yeah.
because it's very difficult to come back from that. Best of 5, it's a lot easier to do that. So
To be fair, we did see 2 Amarex, 2 battles in a row yesterday.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
But that sort of stuff, like, that's part of RNG. I like RNG because it means that things aren't as predictable and you can't calculate everything in. Amarex, however, are, of course, generally very unlucky happenings or very lucky happenings, depending on how you look at it, of course.
Yeah,
I mean, can you
yeah,
imagine the
exactly.
relief from the team that Amarex the mouse?
Oh, exactly, exactly. You know, and it's one of those things, and it's a game changer on best of 3. Amarex are a game changer.
Look at the lineup from
And,
Raid, though. This is definitely
no,
an interesting lineup. But they can pretty much match with Infinity War, who's taking near about as many super heavies. Even more so.
yeah, yeah. Super
Fika is
heavy method to the
72.
rescue.
This is, I think, the first time this season that I've seen a VK72 being used.
No, I agree. VK90, yes. VK72, not so much. So, yeah, I see where you're coming from. No, I don't think I've seen a VK72. Trying to scratch my head now to think if I have.
I like, by the way, that Money is using a raid avatar.
Yeah.
But here we go, the very first battle. Money already says, here we go again. And let's have a look. Pretty much you can't get anything but base A and B action with these kind of lineups. And I think the only way that Delirium can get base C for free, perhaps he is going to meet some opposition there as well. Raid is actually not really looking for A.
I'm not surprised that Yanni and in Sick are going that way, to be fair. I mean, they're the fastest of the tanks they've got on the raid team.
Yeah, and I think Delirium is mainly there because he's sensing the danger, knowing that he's not completely safe there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely interesting to see what Raid is doing with all their tanks. Because this is not typical.
It's not.
The second animal being very careful here. Crossing over. Oof, that was big hits into blue there. And now he's going into base B.
Oh, Naro not connecting with Money. It's a shame.
Yeah.
That would have been a great shot.
And with the second animal now in base B, that is going to give Infinity War a definite advantage if he manages to do it. And we have Raid sort of flanking around, but there's no one there for them to contend with. And now base B has been taken. And basically the second animal is functioning as spotter.
I think Raid are waiting for IW to take defensive positions and punish them that way. So Naro's now going to join OG. That way Money is out the equation and they could possibly... But Money misses, unfortunately, second animal. Not Money. OG missed second animal.
Oof. Naro shot not hitting again.
Either.
Yeah. Oh, that was an ammo rack.
That was indeed.
I mean, I did...
all tanks.
I did not literally see it, but the fact that a full health tank suddenly disappeared has to be an ammo rack. And now we have Sick and Jantastic potentially pushing the old school boy, who is pretty much alone there.
Animal, I mean, Riley is tempted to drop down, but he's not tempted because of the Lucy Booty.
Yeah.
Drizzle's got to hold the fort at the moment. I mean, Riley would like to get Lucy Booty out of the game if possible, rather than second animal. It looks like second animal is now the target. Down he drops.
That miss by Lucy Booty is also not going to work for them. They basically, they need to take the guns out. There are quite a few one-shots on the field now that are still alive. Naro is taken out. Lucy Booty, second base. Wow, these tanks are disappearing very, very quickly. OG is in trouble now with the way that he's alone versus a VK and E100. He might still get a shot though.
Anytastic will take out Falcon Dude here.
Yeah.
There he goes. It's now 2 against too many.
And Drizzle is capping, which makes sense. He's well protected there. And Pixel is not going to be able to reset him before he caps the base. He might still get him though. Ooh, that was a cheeky shot. Didn't pen, but still.
Get Pixel Shoot Dude's head down a little bit. Now Money is the target.
Now they're just moving into cleanup. And there's not really anything they can do about it.
I think that's what Raid was waiting for. I don't think they were too fussed about the B-cap being taken. They were just waiting for those defensive positions after that B-cap and then using the ability. But again, the ammo rack does have a part to play.
In this case, that was the domino that started the whole line going, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, but plus it's the T22 as well,
Yeah,
and there goes your mobility.
and the troll armor that you have, the DPM that you get with it, and everything.
Hmm?
This is exactly what we're talking about. In this case, Raid will have been very happy with that ammo rack, and
Oh,
Infinity War
absolutely.
basically got nerfed with it.
Yeah, yeah. In essence, correct. Yes.
And now we're getting ready for the second game. Lineup-wise, there doesn't seem to be much of a change. They seem to be fairly set, except the T22 has now been taken out, which I can understand after what happened. Lucy, though, the last game in the VK72, he did not get a single shot in. Like, he shot, it just didn't pen. So that is also something. And Raid now taking 2 AMX-50Bs. This game, I mean, lineup-wise, this is such an interesting thing because E100s, they can make big booms. At the same time, they can also be very easily promoted in the face. It's tricky.
It depends how they make use of them, and you're right. They can be. I mean, S1K did okay in the 50B earlier.
But this is like an E100 can fairly easily HE in AMX 50B, so you always have to be very careful with
Absolutely.
that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And when there's so many E100s on the field,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Raid is taking 3 of them. I mean, the AMXs are on their side, but still, there's like big super heavies with very big guns out there. And you have like a very juicy AMX 50B, so they have to be very careful with how they deploy them.
you do, and it looks like they're deploying them all to the ACAP, which is going to be interesting because there's some big super heavies going that way as well.
Yeah. And I wonder if they're going to go straight into the base, which might be a trap. They get spotted there. Lines of fire happen. They are so lucky. And they will know that. Those are the
Three
luckiest
shots,
AMXs
all of them
ever.
missed.
Yeah.
Just
3 of
see the
those shots would
tracer
have
fire.
potentially taken out like a whole tank.
Yeah, just tracer rounds going everywhere.
Oh my god. Base B being taken and being reset. A little bit of damage being done here or there. The thing is now though, those AMXs can't go anywhere. And the super
Really,
heavies
and
are
I
waiting
mean,
for that.
now Drizzle's got a free cap to be fair because Falcon Dude had to wait for his long reload. He is in an E100. The second animal is not stupid enough to drive in there when he knows that there are probably other tanks supporting Drizzle.
But this is interesting though, because if you look at the E100, the VK72, the VK90, and the old school dude, they were all trained at those AMXs, and basically tied them away from the rest of the game for quite a while.
Well, yeah, I mean, the 50Bs can't really do much now. I mean, if they push forward, they're going to get wrecked.
No, but
If they try to get out of there, they're going to get wrecked.
the thing is, they're still doing what they need to do. They're occupying tanks.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if you look at the way they've stacked up, if anything comes down to try and pop into that B cap, well, they've got that covered.
I'm more worried about the A cap, to be honest, because if those super heavies push, the AMXs can clip.
Oh, Lucy Booty dude, that may not be good.
No.
You got away with that. Only got 2 shots in. S1K and Johnny Tastic looking. Oh, S1K gets a smack.
Yeah, and another
And
one.
another one.
And another one.
And-
This is the downside of those AMXs versus super heavy guns.
They were waiting for the likes of the Lucy Boosie dude to do that, but they only got 2 shots in, and that's so. Sick there was trying to get round, but second animal. Second
Yeah.
animal, what are you doing?
I'm not sure he knows what he did. Oof, that was a lot of HP for Drizzle to lose as well, though. The rest of Infinity War now making a move. That shot from Nado missing point blank. I think there has to be ping issue. And now we have the AMXs moving in.
Go down now.
Sig has been taken out. There goes Drizzle. Falcon Dude is still alive, but there he goes. They basically need to very much deal very quickly with the guns that they have, because Gentastic is not going to be long for this world either.
No. But you can see that OG is desperately trying to get into Lucy Boosie Dude. He's ignoring the old school.
Yeah, and they kind of
just...
they already have it, actually.
They do.
That was very quickly. Well played by Raid, to be fair. And I think those AMXs being tied up like they were was key here, because they occupied no less than 4 tanks from Infinity War for quite a while.
I must admit, I'm happy to see Raid changing their meta. I must admit.
This is interesting. I mean, for me, these games are like highly interesting. Even though so far it's a 2-0, the games themselves are intense and very clever. So now we're moving on to Vineyards, the second map of this best of 7. I'm very curious to see what's going to happen now.
Lucy won't take a mouse.
No, won't take a VK anymore either. But we see 2 TVPs arriving at the scene.
It was on this map that I think it was Lucy Boosie had a mouse and he got ammo racked by Raid in the PYS.
I just got a question about game sounds. The reason that you hear no game sounds on my screen is because if I have the game sounds on, you won't be able to hear Fujit. And I much prefer you hearing Fujit over some in-game sounds. That being said, when we're flying with a free camera, the game sounds are already very soft, so you're not actually missing out on all that much.
Yeah.
So let's see, 10 seconds to go before we go into the third game. No real pressure just yet, but Infinity War kinda does have to start making a comeback now.
They do, and they've got 3 juicy tanks. To be fair, very juicy tanks.
Yeah,
with
that's dangerous.
The TVPs and the AMX. Raid going for the haul down E5 with the mobility.
I mean, this is, for me, I'm more excited about these matches than I'd actually think I would be with this score. But just with the lineups, you see the potential from both sides. And it will be all about whether or not they can keep the juicy tanks alive. Because last match, Raid managed to do so with the AMXs for a very long time.
I mean, looking at the way Raid have lined up here, I mean, they're looking to dominate the top half of this map. You know, I wouldn't surprise me if those E5s go straight over the river to get into that sort of dippy, sort of little ravine area.
And there we go. Spots are happening. Drizzle being quite
going
forward
to
here.
the right side of it.
Yeah.
And looks like OG and Riley are going to go to the left side of it, which is where I thought they'd go. Because that's a really dominant position if you can make it work. And if anybody can make it work, Raid should be able to.
Exactly. They're being pretty forward right here. But they might get away with it as well. Look at the way that they're pushing old school, dude. And thing is now, as soon as one of the TVP gets spotted, they get shot at.
But, S1K, that's too aggressive.
Yeah. Sick losing a whole lot of HP for that. OG actually moving in, but he still gets taken out. I think that might have been some miscommunication on Raid's part there. But
yeah,
now...
I don't think S1K was meant to be that aggressive, although Riley is now being aggressive as well.
Yeah, and that's interesting as well. They're not even shooting the same target, even when they're this close. The old school dude is not going to make it. Yeah, Falcon has just been taken out. There goes old school. TVPs have reloaded by now. Basically, they need to make sure that every shot counts here.
There's Riley.
But looking at the HP, it's very similar, but just more unhealthy tanks on raid side. Well, now it's sort of like evening out, but
and with those TVPs that the TVPs, Money's going to be reloaded, Drizzle's going to go, but he's not going to focus Drizzle. He's going to focus Nardo, which is the right move. Clip him.
And now,
Blue
basically,
will take out Animal.
This should be Infinity War's game. Should, I say, because nothing is a given. Especially not with the juicy TVP running away and the pixel shoot dude being so low on HP as well. Delirium is the only one with a lot of HP. And
he's
he
going to be
has
fully
to...
loaded.
There we go.
This is going to be IW now.
Did he just shoot HE?
Delirium is fully loaded. He did. He had HE loaded for Naro in the Vickers.
Thing is, Blue just needs to get this kill and then survive. And that is the dangerous part here.
Oh, he low rolls.
He waited for that to have 2 shots to make sure that he could get that kill. And now it's up to Delirium to make sure. That is not how you do that. You need to use normal ammo. He's reloading his clip. We're at 930 points. The pressure is on. And he's going to take that hit.
Clever play by Blue, trying to face hug, use that advantage, but Delirium gets away from him.
They have it. They have it. Raid has it.
Well played, Blue.
This, to be fair, Delirium shot HE at the Kranwagen several times and did not get a proper HE pen. And I understand why you would try. When it's this close, I wouldn't count on HE.
No, but you're right. You could see what he was trying to do. He's trying to get those HE rolls into the rear end of that Kranwagen, which is a very juicy target. But you only have to be left or right of it, and you're going to get those low rolls all the time.
And he got it a bunch of times.
Yeah.
It's the same with the AMX going after, I forgot who it was. I think it was, second animal went after, I don't know. But he took a lot longer with that, bounced a few shots, and the TVP was busy shooting another target. Even though he was like right by there, which meant that the AMX actually lost more HP. It's little things like that, little mistakes. But Raid made full use of that. With a bit of luck because they had the bases, but still.
We have to be honest here. I mean, Raid were very lucky there. I mean, they lost their E5s were very aggressive when I don't think they needed to be so aggressive. And at one stage, IW did have that game in the palm of their hands. As soon as they took out that Vickers, it should have been theirs 2-on-1, but it just wasn't.
Exactly. So, now we see another VK72 arriving at the scene. I mean, I have to give Infinity War kudos for not sticking with the typical meta tanks, but like we've said before, there's a reason those tanks are meta.
Yes.
And now the pressure is really on, because if Raid wins the next match, then they are through to the grand finals tomorrow for the challenges. And Infinity War will have to fight Vil.
Yes, that's basically summing it up.
Raid now going for 2 T22s, different lineup, more Kranwagens, less E5s.
Yeah, that's more their traditional lineup with the Kranwagens. They like their Kranwagens do Raid, to be fair. Very comfortable in them.
But I'm very curious how that 72 is actually going to perform here, because that too is going to be tricky. Money going for the base, which makes sense, but at the same time I think that most of base B will be more or less undefended here. And I think Raid can smell that with that 72.
I think they can. I mean, with the 72, that you can see Raid thinking, oh, they're going for the C strap. We can be aggressive on B, and they're being aggressive onto the bridge with E5s, which is good positioning to go. Crown wagons where the normal base would be an encounter, and sending the rest around the flank. I mean, it's
Yeah.
the T-22s being where they are is normal. They can flank around the back and get the shots into the back of any stragglers that are keeping rear guard.
And Money already lost quite a bit of HP just running over, and now everyone going through the town is just going to get shot. Base C will be pretty much impossible for Infinity Ward to cap, whereas Base B is a potential possibility for raid.
Indeed, and this is what they're waiting for. They're waiting for something to drop into that C cap. Second Animal has done that. He's in a good position, to be fair. Second Animal, he's put himself really up against the building.
And this is lovely. Do you see this? Drizzle is making a move for Base B, and as such, they're shooting the Falcon dude to get him out of the way and in a position where he can't defend Base B. So now Infinity War... Sorry, yeah?
I'd say in slowly, the T-22s are making their way down that flank. I would have thought as soon as somebody of raid jumps into that B cap, the T-22s will move.
Yeah, they're not doing that just yet, though. Infinity War has a little bit better protected than they probably hoped that it would be. But here we go.
Here they go. They're just waiting for the T-22s to catch up. Then the B cap is going to be taken. Now everybody's focused on the T-22s, not the B cap. Good stuff by raid. Very clever thinking.
This is clever gameplay, and I like it.
Very clever. That's really well done by raid. Wait for the 22s to move, get the turrets of the tanks turning onto the 22s, then cap the B because the turrets aren't there. Second Animal, however, is rushed in to try and stop that, but it's too little too late.
Vickers has been taken out. The Falcon dude is not long for this world either. Basically, Raid is losing a lot of HP over this, but at the same time, they now have a luxury position. Blue has been set on fire, though. And that might pose some issue. He actually dies there. But so does Falcon.
Fantastic, and OG should be able to... yeah, they do, but they should be looking at the old school dude. Oh, S1K going down.
Oof.
Was not in the part of the game plan.
No. But Raid has 2 bases, and Infinity War will have to make a move about that. The old school dude is not going to be long for this world. Second Animal is losing a lot of HP. It's tricky. NATO has been taken out, but so is the old school dude. They need to get the bases back, and they don't have the literal manpower to do that because there goes Second Animal.
That's it. They're going to leave Pixel Shoot dude to the end. Treat him as a mouse.
Drizzle has 3 HP left.
But right, I thought Riley was going to protect him, but no, Pixel Shoot dude gets the shot in.
Yeah, but they should have this.
Yeah, the points are with them.
Maybe not now, though, but they will get Delirium. Delirium is not going to be surviving this. But that was a big hit from the VK into OG there.
It all matters now what goes on with the Lucy Boosey dude and Riley.
Yeah, and whether or not the T-22
and Riley will take him out, I think.
That might have cost him the game altogether. There we go. Yep. 1k points. That shot on OG had to pin, but it didn't.
And it didn't.
Wow. Such intense games, though, even though Raid definitely dominated this. Very clever gameplay.
You can see there that IW did more damage, but it's not always about the damage. 9 supremacy.
Just exactly that B cap together with that push. I think Infinity War responded too late, and in this case, it didn't work out well enough. And I think the VK-72, he did the most damage, but at the same time, he was out of the battle for quite a bit as well, because it takes time for the VK to get anywhere.
And that's the thing. I mean, with these slow lumbering super heavies, obviously, Raid knew they were going to go to the city. Yeah.
You could see that in the way that they drove from the start of the battle.
Absolutely. So they sort of knew what the game plan was. And then, very cleverly, they waited for the T-22s to move down the flank. before they drop their own tanks in. So yeah, really impressive stuff.
And then we end on a 4-0, and we have 45 minutes left to go before we get a second match. Loka versus BPS is still going, so no results there yet. I'm just going to be showing you some replays, and then we can talk about random stuff. This is basically always the downside of streaming tournaments, where you get that Wargaming has to take everything into account, but there's just such a large gap between first and second match now.
Yes, there is.
Oh well. But they were good, intense games, and that's something I genuinely like.
No, absolutely. I mean, when you've got games like that, it's always sad to see a team lose. Of course it is. But when you see them, it's not. It's closer than what they look.
Yeah.
Let's be fair. It's not. They're not pushovers, so to speak. And when you do get games like that, it is great to watch them.
Exactly.
Because they are intense. They are fast and furious.
And a 4-0, that sounds really good, but exactly as you say, the games were a lot closer than you think. Raid still won them very convincingly, but it was close.
And, as I said, you're getting to see some great movements as well around the map and the strategic thinking going on in the teams.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to see things like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It just makes for beautiful gameplay, and it makes it's just lovely to then watch games like that, because you just appreciate it a lot more what they're doing.
Exactly. That's basically what I like about tournaments as a whole. It's not the score, it's what happens in these games. When it's this close game-wise, the games are definitely worth it. I've had that with our NA games as well, because we've been streaming NA as well, for those that don't know. And
yes.
It has been tricky, because getting up at 3 a.m, or at least getting up at 2 a.m. to stream at 3 a.m, is not an easy feat to do. But at the same time, the games on NA have been really intense and really good fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like, yeah, I'm glad I got up for this. And that wasn't always the case. There have been seasons where I'm getting up at 2 a.m. to stream at 3 a.m. and then wondering, why did I do this?
Yeah, there is that. But no, we've seen some great games. And I'll be honest with you, the challenges have not disappointed.
Absolutely not, no. To be fair, but that's I think also a part of the seeding abuse and the top 8 not being exactly as you would anticipate it to be, because that means that also top 8 worthy teams are also in the challenges. Not saying that otherwise it wouldn't be worth streaming it or whatever, but I think that has heightened the gameplay for the challenges. I'm showing a replay and someone just said, hit them. That's kind of the goal, to be honest. Just, I don't know.
A giveaway, yes.
Yeah, or... But yeah, so we basically have just Infinity War versus Veil next, so that's going to be highly interesting as well.
It is. It's going to be it is going to be a fun game. I mean, these two clans have tussled, to be fair, in the PYS and in this in this series. So this is the final tussle. So who's gonna prevail, IW or Vale?
Yeah. And then they have to go up against Raid again.
Yep.
Which is also no lean feat. It's
No, it's
nice to
not.
see Raid. I can't actually say that they weren't in form, because I haven't seen them play all that much throughout Prove Your Skill and everything. But they were one of the teams that, like you said, were pretty much nerfed by the seeding abuse.
Yeah. There's definitely. I mean, they had a trouble with that. It's the same with quite a few teams have fallen foul of it. And yeah, I'm not just saying this because I'm in Vale. Vale had the same problem. They ran afoul of the seeding. Because because if you don't have those 100% win rates in there, then it becomes traumatic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, on the EU server, we see it. It's more prevalent on other servers, to be perfectly honest with you. And especially if you go down to, if you look at the NA server, which is a smaller server, then the seeding abuse can have a dramatic effect.
I can imagine that, actually. I've not really thought about that because I've been bothered enough by EU already. But it's sad that it's kind of come to that level.
Yeah, I mean the smaller the server, the more of an effect the win rating seeding has. And it can have a massive effect.
Do you know how it's gone on the Asia server, actually, with the seeding abuse? I mean,
it's not as prevalent on Asia. Is to be honest.
Do you think that might have to do with people being less aware of the possibility to abuse seeding? Because, and this is gonna sound really bad, but Asia server just always seems a little bit out of it for me with stuff like this.
Yeah, there's probably some of that. I mean, Asia server seems to be set to do its own thing and its own devices. So yeah, there is probably a lot of. They're not fully aware that this manipulation can increase your chances here, there, and everywhere. Because we certainly don't see it as prevalent there as we do on some of the other servers.
Yeah, exactly. Just they always seem a little bit innocent, a little bit out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's great teams there. Don't get me wrong. It just seems like there's just less of the seeding abuse as a whole.
And that's true. It is not as clear over there. Whereas my understanding is on the RU server, it's massive. And I was speaking to some of the RU streamers, and a lot of the teams over on RU are not happy. They're not happy that it's still continuing. Not happy it's not being addressed.
To be honest, that might be one of the reasons that Wargaming is finally taking action. Because I do always feel that that basically RU is what Wargaming wants to cater to.
Well, it is their biggest player base, so that would be understandable, to be fair. That's not sort of saying all the other servers don't mean anything.
They just mean less.
That's not the case at all. Yeah, they're just not as, from a business perspective, they're just not as important, so to speak. Whereas the RU server is vitally important for them. Purely because of the player base. And it's not just that. I mean, it's like, most people are aware that I'm married to a Russian. And she tells me that in their TV shows and in stuff like that, guys are always playing World of Tanks Blitz on their iPhones and stuff.
That is so funny, actually.
Yeah, so there's quite a big awareness of the game on RU. So yeah, it does make sense that they listen to the RU side a lot more than the others.
Well, yes and no. The thing that I always found is that it's the EU, or rather the English community, not just EU, it's also a mixture of NA and also a mixture of Asia, are more vocal about things. It seems like. I'm not sure if that's the case, but that's just what it seems like to me.
RU is very vocal.
Really? That's good.
Yeah, so I'm told. But one of the things that I think should be considered. They may not consider it, but one of the things they should, well, they may consider it because we're starting to see it now, just with our little streamer thing, for example, our streamer Discord. We now have the RU streamers in that Discord.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I've always been trying to argue for is, look, if you're going to have CCs, community contributors, listen to them, bring them all together. So the servers are coordinated.
Yeah.
So you're not just listening to the EU server. You've got the EU server CCs talking to the RU CCs. We now have, obviously, an NACC in his royal fatness.
Oh, yeah.
So, you can start to now bring a coordinated sort of group together that can really feed in what the community is feeling.
The only downside there is that the RU streamers, or the RU CCs at that as well, speak very, very little English.
That is true. On the same token, we speak very little Russian.
That is very true as well. But yeah, I'd like for more coordination between the servers, because with the big Discord server, I'm not saying it's flawless. I mean, I'm moderated and I see everything that goes on there, but there's a lot more communication as a whole, like as in the whole English-speaking community. And I think that has also helped get through to wargaming more about things. But there's just, I don't know. The way that people give feedback is often, let's say, very questionable.
Yeah, I mean, you know as well as I know. I mean, the people out there probably don't know this, but a lot does happen behind the scenes, guys. So at the end of the winter season, for example, we, the streamers, put together a feedback document.
And that sounds like little, it was ginormous.
It was. And in credit to Wargaming, they read it, they commented, and in certain respects, on certain points, they acted. But now, if my argument is, if we can have everybody coordinated, and I'm not saying obviously a big document like that. Oh, big hammer rack, nice. If everybody was coordinated, if everybody could, put together a big document like that as the CCs, including the RU guys, then it has more gravitas.
Yeah.
Wargaming to stand up and say, okay. And the way that we're trying to do it is not to say to them, you must change, you must do.
No, you have to give them something to think about. You're saying it would be nice if this happened, the community feels this or that. Can you work that or something? Basically, the moment that you start to go into the you have to, you know that it's not going to go down well.
Oh, and in fairness to them, we may not see... Unfortunately, getting the bureaucracy of a company to move is very traumatic.
Mm-hmm.
In fairness, they're starting to listen more. And that goes a long way.
And that has taken a very long time to get to this stage. I do feel that we have a staff now that we can actually talk to. They won't always agree, and they don't have to. But it's the staff that does listen. And usually you can have mature discussions with. I do say usually because it's not always the case. They are a company and they do think as a company, and that's also something you need to take into account. Because the thing is that there's a bunch of things that we will want as a player that are company-wise just never going to happen. And you have to take that into account too. So when you give Wargaming your feedback, you also have to think about things from a company perspective.
That is a big thing. So, and a prime example of that is everybody moans about the Smasher.
Yeah.
Everybody. It's a money earner. Because everybody moans about it, everybody wants it.
Yeah, but that's exactly the thing. And I do feel that both the Smasher and the Annihilator do need a nerf. Like, even just a small nerf, but just a nerf. I don't think that it's going to happen because Wargaming does not like nerfing premium tanks, and they try to avoid it. Collectors or premiums, in this case, for me, is the same thing. Tanks that people paid money for, let's put it that way. And
Right.
I think that it's more likely that they will be power capped because they've done that with OP premiums and collectibles before. They don't so much touch the tank themselves, so people can't complain about that. I can't say, oh, I want my money back because the tank isn't what I paid for. But they will still be
Correct.
weaker. Prime example for that, even if you don't like seal clubbing, is the Kenny. The Kenny
Totally.
is completely broken. It has a, instead of a 9-second clip reload, it has a 3-second clip reload. This was pointed out to Wargaming before the tank was launched, and we're going, no, it's fine. And they promised several times in writing to never touch the tank. And so they didn't. But they touched everything around that tank. And even though the Kenny is still a great tank, compared to the regular Kenny in the Japanese tank tree, the regular one is a lot better. It has more pen, it does more damage per shot, even if it has 2 shots rather than 4. And it can handle itself a lot better than the very OP broken premium that was its counterpart. And that's kind of how I think Wargaming is going to deal with the Smasher and the Annihilator eventually, because right now, if they were to ever sell the Annihilator again, because it's not been sold since the original time, they would earn lots and lots of money selling it again. So I would expect that to happen first, and then a power creep.
I mean, we talk about nerf. Excuse me. They don't even need to nerf the Annihilator. Take the super duper consumables away from it.
Oh, that too. God, yes.
Because if you can take the super duper consumables away, because look, I play the Annihilator because it's a fun tank, and yeah, I can dish a lot of damage out in it, and I've got like a stupid win rate in it. That's because once you know that you've got a super duper consumable, you go out, you unload your triple barrel, drop your super duper consumable, and you get into cover before anybody can do anything to you.
Yeah.
So drop the super duper consumable because it is slow as heck. And if you haven't got that consumable, trust me, you're going to get shot a lot more. You really are.
Basically, for 2021, Wargaming had us CCs make like a wish list as to what we would like to see in the game. And part of what has been said is implemented in the game. I'm not saying that we're to credit for that, because I don't know if that is something that was like totally new, if they did that because of us, or if they were already working on that. Like some of the missions being simplified, no longer kill X amount of light tanks, but more kill lights and mets. So just basically a little bit of a simplified mission system. But one of the things that I put in my file was basically just actually lost my train of thought. What we were talking shit. I hate this. My memory is so bad. Oh yeah, the consumables, just OP consumables. My wish for 2021 it was and is still remove them or make them available for every tank, even out the playing field. I much prefer them to be removed. To be honest, I'll be very open about that. But if Wargaming refuses to remove them, then at least make them available to all tanks. And I'm not like, don't give mediums like the super speed boost or whatever, but give all the heavies the same OP consumables. Give all the mediums their own set. Basically, make it work like that. So that every tank is broken in its own way with its own stupid consumables that shouldn't be in the game at all. But if Wargaming insists, then at least even the playing field.
Yeah, but as we said earlier, I mean, the speed boost I get, the adrenaline rush I get, super duper consumable speed boost I don't get.
No, it's specifically the fantasy consumables that I have a problem with. The consumables and the provisions.
That's the kicker, the fantasy consumables. I mean, what are you putting in the engine to make it go that fast? Is it like sort of nitroglycerin or jet fuel or whatever it is? Because it is purely fantasy. It is purely fantasy.
And that being said, I'm not. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, your crew's not working harder for that super duper consumable.
Yeah. I'm not against fantasy tanks, fantasy looks and all that. I'm all in favor for that. I like my tanks to look cute and colorful and not realistic at all. I don't mind that at all. I only mind the like I mean, in a way, this whole game is like not realistic, but just like the fantasy consumables and provisions make your tank do things as you say that a crew could never ever do.
Correct. It's mad. It's that side of it's mad. Don't get me wrong, the reactive armor, well, I mean, the reactive armor is okay. I mean, that does exist in real life and it's not beyond the balance of probability. But the super duper speed boost? Really? Come on.
Reactive armor and the sandbags and everything, I can even get the reasoning behind those.
Huh?
But then make it available for all. It's the fact that it's specifically for just a few tanks that is for me a nope. By the way, what I learned that reminds me, we're getting the Yo soon. And the Yo has that system where you can't really be tracked. Which on its own is not okay in my opinion either. But that is something that actually is based on reality. Because...
They had it in real life, yeah.
That from what I've read is that they actually gave the Yo sort of like emergency tracks. So that it could do this in real life. So as much as I am against that it being in the game too, at least it's based on reality.
Yeah, I mean that was the idea behind the design. It was to get you out of a spot whereby the tracks would still move a little bit, or you could still roll on them a little bit to get out of danger. Obviously, in real life, where if you get tracked, it takes an age, and the crew have to jump out and sort of repair it, and you don't get instant retracking like you do in the game.
Yeah,
it's the same with the T92, because everybody complains about the frontal armor on the T92. That is actually based on real life. It was designed to withstand a nuclear blast. Funnily enough.
Wow. To be fair, that's pretty cool. But that kind of thing, at least it is based on a real thing.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And the normal speed boost is fine. I mean, it's still technically not like logical for it to happen, but I kind of like see it as having a nitro tank in your tank somewhere or something.
Correct.
But
Correct.
The super duper speed boost is unrealistic as hell, and there's just like a whole bunch of those things going on right now that I feel should not be in the game.
Yeah. No, that's the thing, and I mean, I get. Like I said to you earlier, I get why they came up with this concept, because everyone was complaining about the British tanks. But, giving the British tanks something to make people play them defeats the object of the British tanks, which was they're meant to be tricky to play.
Yeah.
But you're removing the skill ability a little bit.
Right now, all the tanks that are that we have in the game, all the nations, have something going for them and against them. And that was one of the things that I genuinely liked about the way that the game was, because you had the Germans with the accuracy, the Americans were all rounders, basically good at everything, not great at anything. The Japanese with the gun depression and such. You had the British with the hash, the French with at the time, the auto-loaders. Now you have the Europeans with the auto-reloaders. And basically every nation has something going for it. And with these consumables, I feel like the whole balance of it is completely thrown out the window, and it just doesn't have to be that way.
That's true, and this is the thing. And when you first started this game, you had what I would term noob-friendly lines, and when you get to tier 10, it's fair to say that the IS-4 is the most noob-friendly heavy, in real terms. Whereas the 215B is not, nor is the E5. These are not noob-friendly heavy tanks.
And they shouldn't be.
The E100, correct, they are finesse tanks. And when you start giving these tanks, because they're not noob-friendly, consumables to make them, to give them a little buff, removes the factor of the skill required to play those tanks.
Exactly, and
That's the point.
I understand partly why wargaming has done this because it makes the game more interesting. I don't agree with that,
I
but
don't.
it's yeah. For me, I sincerely wish that wargaming will remove those the unrealistic ones. I mean, by all means, keep the sandbags, the enhanced armor. It's not like very logical, but I can get behind the logic with that. But especially
Yeah.
that super speed boost should not be in the game.
No, I don't disagree with that. I'm a big fan in saying, well, look, the super speed. As I said to you yesterday, you've seen the loadout now on the 215B and the E5 that I've got.
Yeah.
Just super speed boost and sandbags and reactive armor. I mean, why wouldn't you? And this is why these teams are playing these tanks. Because of that.
It makes sense because, and the thing is that wargaming wrongly assumes that the tanks are popular because of that. The tanks are used because they're stronger than any other tank because of them.
Oh, exactly. That's the point. And this is the point. By giving them these consumables, make them more noob friendly, has actually had the opposite effect.
Yeah.
Because in the hands of a good player, they're almost tantamount to being OP.
And this
they're
is
not OP tanks.
Exactly, and that's the exact same thing. This is the reason why the meta is as boring as it is right now. Basically, you take either a Vickers or a T22, and you take a whole bunch of E5s and Kranwagens, and you have your lineup, and you don't need to do anything else.
Why would you? Exactly, why would you?
And I very much wonder what the meta would turn into if you were to remove that speed boost.
Yeah. I mean, because if you take the E5, I mean, you've got an E5 that you can turn into a medium in next to no time.
Yeah.
And now you've got, it's got great reload, so you don't need the reload adrenaline thing. Just stick in your super booster, and there you go. It's brilliant. You've got a heavy medium. It's brilliant.
Exactly, and I really do understand why it is used that way. But it's kind of like the same reason that the G22, when it first came out, it basically dominated the whole Clan Wars scene, and it wasn't because people really liked the tank or what it stood for. No, it was because that was the most competitive tank there was, so they kind of had to.
Yeah, but the thing now is, I mean, you go back before all this happened, and it wasn't just the T22 that we were seeing in Clan Wars as a medium. We were seeing other mediums as well, like the T62A did make a showing in those days. Object 140, Leo 1s. They don't need to make a showing now. Why? Because you've got an E5. That's why there's so many E5s.
Yeah.
And I understand that they needed to buff, needed to take away the dominance of the mediums and make the heavies more heavy, so to speak. And I get that and I understand that. But now we've got a situation whereby it's a heavy dominated game. Why wouldn't it be?
Yeah, because the heavies no longer need to be heavies.
Exactly. And we saw earlier in Asia a team that rolled out with 5 IS4s or 6 IS4s
5
in a
yeah.
Crown. Why wouldn't you? Exactly. At the end of the day.
And to be fair, and I was a bit surprised because with the current meta, I would have expected 5 E5s over 5 IS4s. The IS4 is and will probably always be meta because of the way that it can hold positions. But
yes, totally.
It's a lot more map specific than it used to be.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, there needs to be, and it's like we no longer really see TDs. Okay, every now and then we will see them. There's no longer any TDs realistically in Clan Wars.
They're not needed. Sometimes they're added as a sort of like edge, but usually they don't even work out. Oh, it's nice to rant about this, like in a very polite. This is how we give wargaming feedback, by the way. We're polite about it. We give our reasons for it. We also explain that we understand why wargaming does certain things. We're also explaining why we think it would be better to do other things. If you want to get anywhere with wargaming, that is how you need to give them feedback. If you say, "Oh, I don't like it, change it," then of course they're not going to do anything with it.
Absolutely, and this is how it is. So
When did we get the last update, by the way? Do you remember?
no,
This is like early May. I mean,
it was early May, yeah.
we don't know when 8.0 is going to drop because we haven't been told that. I am kind of curious about that, mainly because I don't want to have to spend all of Monday recording replays because I've been too busy streaming tournaments to record anything. So I'm hoping that it's at least a week away. Let's see.
I'm just reading what we've been sent, and I'm utterly confused.
Yeah, I saw it come in. I think I have to look at it after the stream. Basically, tomorrow we have Jack and Peter will be commentating the grand finals on the EU server. Fujit and I will be involved as well. So Wargaming kindly sent us sort of like a sheet to detail what is going to happen during the stream. And it doesn't always make sense when we get those.
Well, it's in both. It's in Russian and in English, you see. And when you read the Russian side, it makes absolutely no sense.
Well, for me that would be the case because I don't speak Russian, to be honest. But
forget the bottom part, but look at the top part on the commentator, commentator.
Let's have a look. To be fair, I have to give Tony massive amount of credits. Oh yeah, I see that. He didn't
That's why it
change
doesn't
that.
make much sense.
Yeah. Okay. But no, I really like that Tony takes the trouble to translate that stuff for us because technically Wargaming doesn't really need to tell us, but it helps for us to know kind of what's expected of us. So just having a rough idea of what's going to happen when is always very welcome when you're involved with one of the official streams.
Mm-hmm.
Kasu, Kasu just said, I feel Amunet needs new replays. I kind of do, but at the same time, I don't really mind. We have an A tonight, which is on your channel, so no replays needed for me. Then we have Asia Challenges tomorrow. Basically, from tomorrow onwards, we don't need any replays anymore. It's just for today. Because tomorrow, there's only grand finals, so there's no space to fill up with replays anymore. I do have a lot of them to record, though.
I have the same problem, though, with... because I don't play PC, I'm a touch player, so I can't play, and I rely heavily on replays. Yeah, I rely heavily on replays for the streams of the tournaments.
Yeah.
And people say, "Oh, just play like Fishy or somebody else's." Well, I'd love to, but they're PC players.
I really want Wargaming to bring back controller support because if I could use the controller for PC games, I can play PC between the battles. That's no issue. Controllers and me get along fine. Keyboard and mouse and me do not.
No, same. Same. Me, a keyboard. It's like people say to me, "Well, surely you understand it." No, I don't even know what the keys are.
It's that for me, there's too many keys involved, and also it wouldn't be an issue if it was just the keys. It's the fact for me that your left hand has to do keyboard, your right hand has to do mouse, and they do two completely different things with two completely different reasons. That's where it goes wrong for me. I can't coordinate that way.
But you say that, yet you do the same on touch, really.
No, but you do this. Basically, on touch, your hands are doing the same thing. They're having different functions, but they're both touching the same control, so to speak. And
I understand. Yeah.
yeah, that for me is the issue. That's the same reason I've never been able to learn piano, to play piano. I always wanted to, but I couldn't. Because my left hand and my right hand doing completely different things did not compute in my brain. And it's not always an issue, but when it comes to gaming, it is.
Yeah, no, I've had the same issue because, I play guitar and your hands have to do different things on the guitar. And it took a time for me to work out that the right hand is doing something that the left hand is doing the complete opposite of.
Yeah. And with but it's weird because with a controller, you get similar things happening basically. But it works out then for me because they're different things, but they're doing the same movement, so to speak. And then it works. Controller gaming and I is just fine.
No, I'm totally with you on that.
Let's see. One more quick game. I'm going to play Toby's YOLO game. There's a game that I got sent by Toby. He's driving the SU-101. I really hate that tank. But the way he drove it in this battle, he should not be allowed to live, to be honest. It was so complete YOLO, but it's hilarious to watch. And it's a quick game, which is perfect. But yeah. Well, I still don't understand why Wargaming took away the controller support, to be honest. Because I've had a few people now in my clan that used to play on PC with controllers that have now had to learn the game completely differently than how they're used to. Because the controls are no longer supported.
Well, I think they did that because they started bringing out laptops that were touch enabled. And when you sometimes, because obviously these tournaments are only touch tournaments only, but every now and then you will see a PC mouse next to a player, and people have scratched their head saying, well, why's that happened? It's touch only, because they're on a touch piece, they're on a touch tablet,
crossover thing,
basically.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't think they can now work out who's on a controller on a PC and who's on. So I think that's
I think
the
they
problem.
can though, because if someone is on a touch PC, and they want to enter a tournament like this, the only controls that will work for them are touch controls.
That is true.
So if they can differentiate between that, I feel that they should definitely be able to differentiate between that and a controller.
Maybe they just haven't worked out the interface now to how to differentiate. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's probably something to do with that.
Could well
more
be,
than
yeah.
anything else.
But I really hope that they bring it back just for me to be able to play PC of sorts.
Yes, because until then I've got to rely on replays.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice to be able to show people off. I mean, games like this that are so aggressive, I really like this kind of gameplay. At the same time, I don't encourage anyone to play this way. But that's a whole other thing.
Totally. Oh, and I've just noticed, I've just hit 6,000 subs.
Yay! Congratulations!
Not down to me. I think it's more down to Shappy's teaser trailer that he did for me, which is fantastic, by the way, if anybody's not.
But still, it's a milestone and you've earned it because, I mean, I don't really watch YouTube altogether. It's not my cup of tea. But I like watching your streams and some of your videos. And that's mainly because of your style of doing it.
Yeah, and it's you know, it's been a long road, but I'm in no rush, to be fair.
Yeah.
It's nice to hit these sort of milestones. You know, people say, but you know, there are newer guys out there who've got 10K in the space of like 2 months. Well, fair play to them. I will continue to do what I do, and I will never venture into the drama and the clickbaiting and all that sort of stuff.
Exactly. For me,
I will just, yeah.
Same thing, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I will just try and continue. You know, I've had a sort of mini rebrand thanks to Shappy, who's done an awesome job, by the way.
Is it Shappy or Shapy?
Good point. I could be Shappy, could be
One
Shapey.
P or two P's?
Yeah, I don't know. My French is atrocious, and I know he's French, so I don't know.
No.
But I do know he's done a great job, and I'm really liking what he's done. It's been a pleasure working with him, actually. And
That's cool.
I put the teaser trailer up as an independent video, and it's just got so many positive comments come back. And I wish I could claim the credit, but I can't because it wasn't my creation. So well done, Shappy or Shapey.
I'll definitely have to check that out later because there's a tournament room.
Hey!
Woohoo! Finally,
We got there.
games. Aww. No, but it's always nice to rebrand your channel. It kind of feels like you've redecorated or something.
It does, but it's also traumatic because you get used to what you've got, and you're like, oh, I don't really want to change that, and I don't want to do this, and I don't want to do that, and I mean, I'm by no means I've got probably zero design capabilities in my body, and so he started doing his own thing. So I approached him and said, look, I want to rebrand, but I don't want to rebrand. So we had a good chat, and he gave me some good, he gave me some good advice. And I said, well, go with that then. So it's not like a rebrand; it's more like a makeover, so to speak. Which I'm very happy with. I'm over the moon, absolutely over the moon. He's done a fantastic piece of work on it.
Nice. I'll definitely have to check it out. I'm always wondering what to do with my channel, to be fair, because it can be difficult in YouTube to find the niche that you want to work. Not necessarily it can work for you because, like you said, we can all do drama videos and gain subs very quickly that way. But I don't want to.
No, exactly. It's not what we. Some of us don't do it for that. Some of us want to build a community that's based on a community.
Yeah.
But I mean, if your book reading was going went very well, did it not?
Yeah, I really need to continue that. I just haven't been able to, but I've been kind of leaving people on a cliffhanger.
and what a book to leave it on a cliffhanger, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. No, but that's one of the things I do intend to do more of that because I really, really love doing it. At the same time, I'm wondering about the format. Should I include the gameplay or should I just take the gameplay out altogether? Because some people find it very distracting and other people do like it. It's kind of like, I'm not sure what direction to go into it with it. I definitely want to do it. And I actually know the book that I'm going to read after this as well. And it's one of my favorite books. One of the books that got me in love both with the English language because I'm not native English. But it was, I think, the second English pocket that I ever read, and I just fell in love with it. It's science fiction, and it's all about army and military and tactics and all of that. It's really cool, and I absolutely love it. And I think it will, the player base that we have will enjoy the book as well, which makes me want to do it more. I'm just not sure about the format that I want to use for it. If I want to use more gameplay in the background or just like a sort of loading screen or a little bit of animation or whatever.
Certainly something to ponder. That was me thinking you were going to say it was Chaucer's Canterbury Tales.
No. I did think about a while about War and Peace, but that's a bit too long.
Oh, that would take a lot of videos. That's one heck of a project.
Yeah. To be fair, I think it would be fun. I've not read it yet, so that for me would be interesting as well. But the book that I'm going for after this is part of a series, so I can actually continue on with the other parts of it.
Okay, cool.
After that. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that, even though I'm not sure yet how to go about it. But in the meantime, we have less than a minute left to go.
Yeah.
We're going to go to...
That's the thing about YouTube.
Yeah.
Do something you enjoy. Do something you enjoy.
Exactly. Make it how you want it rather than how you think other people might want you to do it.
On that note, we were saying.
Yes, Veil versus Infinity Wall. Yesterday we saw Veil pretty much smash Quick, but from what I've understood is that the team we saw yesterday from Quick is not the team that brought Quick here. That was a team that, according to the region rules that are part of the challengers and the professionals, would not be allowed to play right now. And as such, the team that we did say play yesterday has very little experience. And from what I've been told is that they mainly just rush. So that is why we saw the very questionable things happening with Quick yesterday.
Yeah, it didn't help that one of their players only had a 121B in his garage.
Yeah, that as well. And it was his reroll, not his main account, because his main account apparently couldn't or wasn't allowed to participate. I'm not entirely certain. But he literally only had the 121B, and just, yeah, it was a bit of drama to watch.
This is going to be different, however.
Yes, Infinity War vs. Veil is going to be much more serious gameplay, I'm fairly sure. And I think more patient gameplay as well. I do expect a base A-B showdown, as you can see also with where the tanks are going right now. We have a Leo standing at the back.
This is make or break, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to lose one of these two.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't want to lose them either, but basically, you can't not lose one of them. And now we have Veil already making a push of sorts, so that is interesting to see. And that might be very costly, might be very premature.
Dustin Killer really getting hurt.
Yeah, but that's also he moved himself into the line of fire of no less than 5 tanks.
And down he goes.
And that was, I think, not the best of calls. Oof, Leo losing a lot of HP very quickly. But that Familo now also losing a lot of HP. This was, I think, a premature push call. That should not have happened. And now they can't do anything but commit to it. With all possible consequences.
Yeah, I mean, I was about to say they're whittling them down, but they're not. That's the thing. I mean, the hit points are not being whittled down of IW.
Yeah, it is 5 versus 5, but...
Yeah. They're looking themselves on the back foot.
The Leo is still alive, free to snipe, which is exactly what it's good at. Delirium is next in line for Infinity War to go down on Veil's side, but it is now 5 versus 4. And HP-wise, there's like a 2k advantage. And Infinity War has them in the pincer movement. They're also tracking Heffalump. And there you go.
Heffalump's down.
Basically, the push by Taste and Killer there just did not work out at all.
Oh, and down goes Vengeance, leaving away the last man standing.
Yeah, but
he takes the Leo, but it's 1 against 3, and it's pretty much dusted.
Did get some Amorex yesterday, but I don't think he will get 3 magic Amorex this match. And to be fair, if he did, I would be very worried.
Yeah, I mean, there could be one of two things. It could be a bad call, it could be a miscommunication, or it could be, because it is best of 5, it could be a test. Best of 5 is it's best of 7. It could be a test. It could be testing the resilience of the other team. You should know them, but you never know.
I
doubt it, but
yeah.
you just never know.
I think this was miscommunication. Taste and Killer thinking that a push command was meant for him as well. I think it was more for the tanks behind him to push forwards a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to have less armor, Taste and Killer is now taking a Vicus. But
yes.
basically, even if it is the best of 7, so meaning that the first team to reach 4 victories is through, it is very expensive to lose the first game this quickly, basically.
Totally.
So let's see, Yuri still has to ready up, but he has about a minute left for that to happen. Sorry. And he just gave like story feedback. Live webcam sitting by an open fire for the storytelling. Oh, to be fair, that would be really, really funny. Kind of like, oh, what was that? The Storyteller, that old television show with the old man next to the fire telling creepy stories. I don't remember what it was called, but we used to watch that back home, and it was fun. Aww.
You're sat in the Vale side, yes? Yeah. Just wondering, where is Ego Chihai there? He's not
no.
in the team list.
There is, he has been calling together with Formillo, so it's actually worrisome. Well, not necessarily worrisome, but kind of worrisome to not see him there. Maybe he could not make it today. Because there's two players in the middle, but neither of which are Ego.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I mean, Ego Chihai does sort of help with calling, so...
So that might be a bit of a handicap for Vale, making it more difficult. Definitely not impossible, but more difficult. Now we have Vickers versus Vickers in the middle. Tasting Killer got spotted there, gets out of there with his life.
He's also seen all the E5s and the Vickers, so they know that there are 4 tanks over that side.
They also know where the Falcon dude is.
And you can see that Vela sort of moving their E5s towards that A cap.
Tasting Killer taking a little bit of a hit there. The Kranenwagen's holding, but the E5s, they're a little bit hesitant. They are going for base A, but they are the only ones there, and that could be tricky as well. And that means that the bases have at least been evened out. The Kranenwagens seem to be pushing into the desert, but not quite. I'm not sure what Vale is doing here, because they seem to be like feinting multiple movements that are not necessarily working out.
I think they're anticipating a push down that flank from those E5s, and the E5s are not biting at the moment. So you've got the 2 Kranwagens and Tasting Killer there in the Vickers, and we've also got Jory in that E5, so I think that's what they're anticipating. But with W having the advantage at the moment, Vale may be looking to push down onto C also, so...
Yeah, but that would mean leaving 2 bases unprotected.
As well.
Yeah.
It's true, but Wunderkind has come out of the A-cap area to sort of give some support for the middle. IS4.
Heffalump is driving away as well, but well spotted, so that kind of potentially gives away what they might be doing. And you see that Infinity War
is now been spotted as well. So.
Yeah. And this is basically
on the flank.
They are pushing, but it's going to be very costly for them because they're basically pushing against Infinity War's strength rather than their weakness. Especially now we have the mouse going into base B, and he's going to be not contested for it. It seems a bit chaotic, a bit hesitant, like we're pushing but maybe we're not. And because of that, they're giving basically Infinity Ward time to regroup all together and take the best positions for what they want.
Yeah, it does seem a little bit... I think maybe they went a little bit too early in the desert because they were spotted. Emilio and Vengeance were both spotted. Sort of gave the game away a little bit. And ideally they would have preferred to have waited for the heavies to come.
And now they are pushing, but in their hesitance, they've lost quite a bit of HP not pushing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, the Lucy Boosey dude is going to go down eventually, maybe.
Yeah, there he goes.
Now they should get Pixel Shoot dude probably out the game.
But there's a lot of HP difference between them. Yori has been taken out. There goes Pixel Shoot dude. There goes Vengeance as well. HP-wise, there's like 4k, well, not a little bit less, but there's still a lot between them. And it will be about the
Oh.
focus fire. It will be about not focusing that mouse, but the E5 and the Kranwagens instead. We have the money. He's still able to get shots in at the back, and Rudewa is not going to live for long.
And he's down, so it's now 3 against 4. Milo is being focused.
And Infinity War already has it because they have base B.
And there you go, 2-0.
And I feel that this game was more... Last time they pushed too quickly and too incoherently. And now they try to do it right, but with their half push and not pushing through, they lost too much HP waiting to be ready to push.
Oh, totally. It seemed, they didn't seem that they... it seemed half-hearted, the push.
Yeah. And I kind of get it, because they wanted everyone there before they actually committed to the push. But they just took... They lost quite a bit of HP just waiting for the team to be there to push. And that just, it just cost them. So now we're going to move to New Bay, new map, new mindset hopefully. Vil will have to work hard in order to make this work.
Absolutely, they will do. Yes, it's they're on the back foot here.
And we see Infinity War taking out their mice, which is not what Vil is doing. Not necessarily a bad thing, because they will have the mobility and the DPM to move around more. But it will really depend on what they do this game, because they have to take it back. They have to get back up, basically.
Totally. I mean, the against the wall here at the moment. It's 2-0. It's a best of 7, so it's the first of 4. Basically, IW are halfway there. Some English guy. I totally agree with you.
No,
yes.
no.
Totally agree with you.
Eurovision for the win. For those not basically with the 5 in delay and all, someone mentioned Eurovision in the chat, and for me it's actually a big family thing, so it feels really weird to not be watching it right now, whereas Fujit is all not Eurovision.
Really?
No, but here we go. Let's go, Vil. I mean, I'm not like biased. I like both these clans.
I'm biased.
But
Vale.
I want, you are. But I kind of want close games, as in like a close score and everything. And I know Vil is better than the 2 battles we've seen so far. So in that way, come on, Vil. You can do this. Get back up. Get those games in. Give us a tiebreaker. We have money going towards base A. Tasting killer there. Potentially 2 Kranwagens there to cover him. Basically, similar movements, mirror movements happening on this map right now.
Oh, but Vale will take the cap advantage.
Yeah, it will be slight though. And with the mice where they are, I'm not sure they will be able to push base B for it.
No, I don't think they're looking to push base B. I think they're looking to get on the ramps, get those cross shots in, send the IS-4s down the middle of heavy route.
Send Tasting Killer in for base A, which would also be a good call.
That will prompt Money, who's lost half his hit points already.
Yeah, but he can't really afford to go and reset it.
He can't, and that's clever play by Money. It would have been a disaster if he would have gone in.
That would have been the end of Money.
Yes.
But that gives Vil a much needed advantage here.
It does. In Vengeance and Vermilio as well, they're probably going to try and use their gun depression in their frontal armour to the maximum here and try and get those shots into the E5s. Although Vermilio does get smacked a lot.
Yeah, and we have the mice now pushing up in the middle. And they know that they're going to come. In this case, I would advise the Kranwagens and Yori to get out of there and to not be there. Because with 2 mice in front of you, along with 2 E5s, that is a very dangerous position to be in. And they're losing a lot of HP for it.
Yeah, I mean, Effalump and Wunderkind. I mean, Effalump's going to try and get behind these mouses. And the old school dude has lost a lot of hit points as well there.
Yeah, but we have Lucy Boosie getting free shots into Heffalump from behind. The
Yeah.
mice now are turning to look back at Heffalump. But it is a bit chaotic here. We have Taste and Killer going up after Money, but Delirium is there as well, so he doesn't want to do that.
And Wonderkind was there looking after him, but he's had to move out to basically help Heffalump.
And now we have the Mad Orange Jesus dude being taken out quite quickly, but still alive right now. The old school dude goes first, Heffalump follows straight after. Taste and Killer is helping with Lucy Boosie, but Delirium is giving chase. Mad Orange Jesus dude is gone, Lucy Boosie is gone, Delirium is hightailing it out of there. If they can keep Vengeance alive, which would help if they didn't block each other. That was an ammo rack. That was a very needed ammo rack for Veil. They needed that to happen.
That's changed it massively.
Yeah, because even though, like, tank-wise, they have a big advantage, that mouse... Was it a mouse? No, it wasn't a mouse. It wasn't E5.
It was E5.
Yeah.
It was the Falcon dude.
Could have done some very bad damage still. And...
It was almost full HP because they were focusing the mouse. So...
And now we only have Money left, who can't hope to bring this back to him, not with 900 and... Well, now, there we go.
Invested.
But this game was very much needed for Veil to get back on their feet, to get that feeling back.
Mm-hmm.
Now they just have to hold it and push with it further. Like I said, get us to a tiebreaker, Hans.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's kind of like I'm at this stage, I always feel that no one deserves to lose 4-0. Like also the games with Infinity War and Raid. Raid 1, the games were close.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, I just always hope that both teams win some games, because then it's, even if just in the scoreboard, it just doesn't look as distant from each other, so to speak.
Correct. I totally agree. I mean, the first two games on Desert Sands weren't the best, I must admit, for Vale. They just weren't. There's an argument to say, yeah, okay, they got a little bit lucky there with the ammo rack, but sometimes Orange Jesus does shine on you.
And now the mouse are being taken out. Also, Odelic just asked if they have a target caller and can we listen to their voice chat. No, we can't listen to their voice chat. Because basically that would also mean that they will hear a commentary and that they would know what the other team is doing too.
Absolutely.
But no, every team will have a captain and a caller. Some have multiple callers, basically telling people what to do, where to go, when to push, who to kill, and everything. But that is something that you will only see if players from these teams are streaming to their own channel. You will never hear that on our semi-official streams. And here we go. Second game on Nube. Fourth game in this best of 7. Oh, and as Sean Listek also said, no, trust me, it's not family friendly. That's also very true. I have heard some of the chat that has happened on other YouTube streams from players like this, and yeah, family friendly is not the word that you would use to describe it. So now we have Infinity War heading towards the base A area. Taste and Killer is hiding behind the building, but there will be some tanks up the ramps as well.
IW looking to dominate the ramp area here.
And that could be
Vale
tricky.
look like they're doing... Well, it is, but Vale are looking to do a similar type of strat to what they just did. Oh, Pixel Shoot dude getting a bit of a smacking there, along with Mad Orange Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can see that you've got the E5s of Vale pushing to that C cap, because they know that virtually the whole team is on the ramps, except Delirium, who's capped. They are going to take all 3 caps, Vale.
And that would give definitely some pressure on Infinity War. But it also means that in this case, I think that Infinity War will be pushing, and that is exactly what they're doing. The Kranwagens need to get off that ramp, need to pull back from that ramp. The rest of Vale will be arriving, but they need to try and survive as long as they can.
And you're right. I mean, those Kranwagens need to get out of there. But the E5s are now coming in. Pixel Shoot Dude will go down. Dual Vengeance, though.
Vengeance is the first one gone.
And they will have shots into those Kranwagens, those E5s.
And 3 bases is a big advantage. Hefflamp is being set upon.
Look at the points.
But basically, Falcon Dude not looking too healthy here. They kind of... Vil needs to push aggressively. We have the T-22s now helping. Yeah. The Falcon Dude is gone. Base C is being recapped. Base A is being capped as well. We have Yori going after Lucy Boosie. Delirium. No, he's actually helping with Delirium there, which is a good call, I think. Because if you take the guns out of the equation, that also gives you a point advantage.
Down goes Delirium. Now Lucy Boosie could be in a bit of trouble here.
Farmillo is still alive, if barely. And there goes Mad RNG's dude. Base B is now also being kept. I understand what they're doing, but 6 guns versus 3 guns. Vil is dominating this game. No ammo rack needed.
Old school dude, down he goes.
Lucy
Boosie is going to be next on the list.
Basically, they need to get that base A back just to get those points. But at the same time, Money is now the only tank that is left. And he won't be able to dominate this. That was a bit of a... Is he trying to HE himself to death? Yeah, he is. Oh, that's sad. Don't do that, honestly. Look at this.
There's no need on Money. There's no need. I know you can't win, but the guy will now go around and put a shot into him.
Yeah, and there he goes. Double tap.
Double tap.
And that was the end of him. But just HEing yourself to death, I mean, come on. I understand the sentiment, but don't do that. But very convincing win by Vil here. This is the Vil that we've been waiting for, that we know is in there.
The words right out of my mouth. Convincing win. I was about to say the same thing.
No. Now it is 2-2. Now the battleground has sort of evened out again. And I'm very curious what's going to happen now. Because if Vil keeps this refound form of theirs, then Infinity War is in trouble.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, Vale seem to have got their second wind.
And to be fair, it's beautiful to see, because this is exactly what I'm hoping for when the team starts behind. But I'm always worried, because the first 2 games, it wasn't so much that Infinity War won, but more that Vil lost. And in this case, it's kind of like they grabbed themselves, they picked themselves up, and they're back up and fighting, and it's beautiful to see.
Yeah, well, it's just taking it to the wire. This is what we want to see in these sort of stages of the lower bracket final. We want to see the clans fighting like this. We don't want to see a pushover. We don't want to see one dominating the other.
No, we want to see it going up like this. This is what I meant. Bring us to a tiebreaker where you have it in you. And this is, I mean, one of the feedbacks that I usually get from Wargaming throughout the years is that I'm not excited enough. And that's the thing, I can't fake it. If I'm excited on stream, I'm genuinely excited. And that's the point that I'm getting to now. And here we go, 5th match of the best of 7. No pressure just yet, there's no match point for either team, but after this game there will be.
Obviously, we got to change a map here with Black Goldville.
Mm-hmm. And let's see.
Pretty traditional meta on both sides.
AMX haven't been taken out. Mostly E5s though, which is great on this map. They can do wonders. Some T22. A little bit of Vickers. And you kind of need the whole combination of it. You need the hull down tanks. You need the spotters. Van Miller is actually going into a quite forward spotting position where we usually see a figure, so that's interesting on its own. He gets shot at immediately, but doesn't take any damage for it.
I mean, I have seen teams put a crown bag in there before because hull down, that frontal armor is just impenetrable with the camo. And you can get the hatches, but it's such a tricky shot.
And you see that with base C being taken, they're now going for base A. But we have Wonderkind there, who is now spotted. But he's not actually decapping base A. I'm surprised at that.
Not because they got C. Now base A has been decapped.
Yeah, but I think, was that, did he get shot or did he just move out of it for a moment?
I think he moved out, actually.
Yeah.
He moved out because he saw Ridaway there, and that's the problem. That's why the E5s are there. They're there to sort of say, look, guys, we can push you if you want.
Yeah. And now, Vale has a point advantage. It will be up to Infinity War to make a move and do something. And basically, Vale just has to protect base C and make sure that base B isn't kept. We need to not see what we saw in Asia earlier today, where basically it was one team, which was in the spawn that Avil is now at, they failed to reset base B. And now we have Vengeance in a very forward position here. That's a good position.
He should be okay. I mean, what you've got here is Tastin Killer in a great spot to see anything coming down the line to see. With Jory there to put the cross shots in. Vengeance a bit too far forward, to be fair.
He's actually lucky that he only got one shot of damage into him, but he got shot at from 5 guns, and it might have told him a lot where people are. Familiar moving back into the old position. He has to be careful as well, because the Lucy Boosy dude, they're in position where they can get quite some very nice cross shots there.
Yeah, but I think they're waiting because Tastin Killer is going to spot. They're stacking them up on that C route. Mm-hmm. As soon as Tastin Killer spots them, Effalump and Wonderkind will drop into A. Well, Wonderkind will definitely drop into A. I don't know about Effalump.
I don't think Effalump will. I think Effalump will pull out of there. There he goes. He's now stacking up the tank with his team as well. Wonderkind is there. Okay, Wonderkind is moving. They know.
There you go. So, yeah, Tastin Killer spots them. They know. Oh, Vengeance, what are you doing?
I don't think he knows. Way too forwards here. Wonderkind indeed moving.
Now they've got no choice. They've got to do a counter push. They have no choice.
Yeah.
That was the call. It wasn't Vengeance going on his own, I don't think. That was the call. The call was counter push.
But it is dangerous, though, because there's a lot of HP being lost. Base B is being capped and contested at that.
It has been capped, though.
Wonderkind is meeting Lucy Boosy there, is basically giving up base A again.
Oh, there goes people shooting.
They need to focus fire. They need to make this work. Rudawai.
They've now got the advantage on this side. Delirium is now coming in, but they can get money out. Oh, there goes Rudawai. Need to finish money. There he goes. Now they still maintain the advantage. 4 on 3. Need to make it count, I should say.
They're focusing Mad RNG's dude. They kind of have to because he's now in their base. Yuri has 1 shot left. He uses that to make a kill. We're at 940 points for Vale. Vale has this game, but this was basically beautifully stacked up together by Vale, and Infinity War stacked up together beautifully as well, but it's exactly this counterpush actually that's winning Vale this game.
It is, and it was the call. So, you know, I think it was a bit harsh. I was a bit harsh a little bit on Vengeance. I think he cut the corner. He went the quick route.
Yeah, but it was still needed.
Push.
Exactly. And it looked to be sort of like out of character. Like, oh my god, what are you doing? But it really worked for them.
Absolutely, it was definitely the call. It was definitely the call to go that way, and you know, it was definitely their intention to put the pressure on there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, cap the A cap, which they did. So,
and that
well done.
also, I think
Good gameplay.
it might have been different if Lucy Boosie hadn't been there, to be honest, because Lucy Boosie responded to Wonderkind going to cap base A. If he had been a part of the fray with Infinity War, the rest of Infinity War, it might have been different altogether. But that's like, it's the very small things that make or break a game. And in this case, it's that counter push that won reveal this game. And that's partly due to one of Infinity War's tanks being at base B to contend there, the other one being at base A, which basically evened out the guns on the big brawl.
Did, but it also goes to show the value of why the likes of Tastin Killer was where he was and Jory where he was, because Tastin Killer spotted them all coming and was able to get out of there and send the signal to the rest of their heavies, they're coming this way, guys. Push both at the same time, which is exactly what they did. And that some people underestimate what the light should be doing. And that's exactly what the light should be doing.
Yeah.
Sending that intelligence back to the team.
Absolutely. Oh, I'm loving these games now, to be honest. It's like View has regrouped and they're giving us our money worth, basically. And now they're up for potential match point. If they win this next match, they're through to the grand finals. And I'm still hoping for a tiebreaker, don't get me wrong. Because I like both these clans and they can both hold their own very, very well. But a comeback like this, that is something to celebrate all on its own.
Well, this is a completely different Veil than what we saw on Oasis Palms, let's be honest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Excuse me, they're more coordinated, they're moving better, their mobility around the map is better, the map control is better, the positioning is much better.
This is the field we were missing that we knew was in there somewhere, but it had to come out. And here they are.
I mean,
and now it's
they were cold.
Now it's up to Infinity War to give a reply back again.
Absolutely.
Tasting Killer going straight in for that cap. Tricky position to be in, but he might get away with it.
Get the E5s of Veil, Rude Away and Vengeance. Very aggressive forward there. Trying to put pressure on to the Falcon dude already.
Yeah. I wonder, they are getting base A. So that is something. The Falcon dude gets shot at. This is a dangerous position for them to be in, though. All guns will be trained at them.
I think the idea here is to keep their heads down, not to allow Vermilio to take on the B cap.
This is interesting, though. I mean, look at this. They're now going after the old school dude. We have Yuri and Wonderkind arriving as well. Tasting Killer at the back, but is arriving as well. They're pushing very aggressively, but it might work out for them.
It will. I mean, they've pincered old school dude, forced Madar and Jesus to get off his perch, then they're now forcing IW to move from their positions. Forcing IW to play Veil's game.
Yeah. And now we have the Pixel Shoot dude, who is now being focused. Vengeance has been taken out. But HP-wise, there's still an advantage in Veil's side. And now a gun advantage as well. As long as they keep focusing, basically they're not having any of it. They're just pushing very aggressively, but it might work out very well for them. Vermilo not looking too healthy. Falcon dude going down because he has no other choice, but that also means he's going to be taken out.
So Wunderkind did bounce that, but Rudaway will not.
No, it's actually Vermilo that got him. Vermilo is gone as well. It is 4 versus 4. But this aggression from Veil, Infinity War, did not expect that to happen. Tasting Killer now in a bit of trouble. They need to get their guns back together if they want this push to work. Tasting Killer.
Going to come around the back. They're going to leave Tasting Killer. They're going to leave him.
Yeah.
Take out the E5 in the Crown Wagon. E5 first, Lucy Boosey dude.
And they kind of have to. They're standing in base B while they're at it, and while they have to do that anyway.
Oh.
Tasting Killer is still alive.
That's actually clever play by Veil.
Very.
Leave Tasting Killer. He was going to go down anyway, but there's 2 tanks out of the equation. That's allowed Veil to farm the E5 in the Crown Wagon and take a cap.
Yeah. It is so clever. I've said it, this is the Vil we knew was in there, that we were missing those first 2 battles. What a comeback.
Really clever play, very intelligent play.
I mean, I said I wanted Vil to get us to a tiebreak, and technically speaking, I still would have loved that, but to see them come back this strong, it's kind of like they're like, oh guys, we're not like this, we can do better than this, let's kick some butt. And that's exactly what they did. Wow.
That is a completely different team to what we saw in Oasis Palms.
Yeah.
Completely different.
Wow.
They had more focus fire, more coordination, better mobility, better positioning, more clarity in what they were doing. And I mean, that was just beautiful to watch. That is watching Vale at their best, to be fair.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, don't get me wrong, IW are not an easy team to beat.
Absolutely not. They play beautifully as well. In this case, it was the moment that Vale regrouped. They regrouped into like a Super Saiyan level. Amazing.
It was very, very impressive. And as you said, quite a comeback.
And on the other side, Appa has been kicked out.
Oof.
The grand finals are Loka versus BPS. It was Loka won from Gravitas 4-2, and then BPS beat Appa 4-0. Oof.
Oh. Loka being Loka.
Yeah.
It's great to see them on their comeback charge.
What games these must have been, though, as well. Just wow. And, like, massive commiseration to Infinity War. As I said, I adore all these teams. I've seen Infinity War play before in the previous skills. I've seen them play early in these stages, and they were fantastic as well. So, massive commiserations to them as well. And, like I said, I wanted Phil to come back. I wanted a tiebreak. But the Vil that we saw stand back up was just so incredibly strong. And Raid, basically, they're going to have a tough pick if this is the Vil we see tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Wow. So that is basically it for now. We will be back tomorrow because due to the final stages from the EU, from the professionals being earlier in the day, it means that we can stream the Challengers finals, and I'm really excited about it, especially now after these matches. Just need to get confirmation from Wargaming that we're allowed to. But this was bloody awesome. Can't say it any other way. So, that is it for now. That is it for us. We will be back tonight on Fujit's channel for the NA server in about 5 hours.
Indeed.
So, really hope to see you all there and to also celebrate Fujit's 6k subs there as well, because that is a good milestone.
It is.
But for now,
I'm surprised.
yeah, but you should be. You've earned it for sure.
Oh, thank you.
But for now, this is it for us. Massive commiserations to Infinity War. Massive congratulations to Vil. And we will be seeing you hopefully tomorrow. Well, later tonight for NA. And then tomorrow for Asia and for EU and for NA again.
Exactly.
Thank you all for watching and see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Cheerio.